Today we're going to answer a question of whether or not volunteering experience is the same as work experience. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Brian back at you with another video where my goal is to mentor you to a rewarding career and to help you create a life you're proud of. And in that endeavor, I answer the question of whether or not volunteering experience is the same as work experience. But before we get into that, if this is your first time joining, thank you very much. And if you don't know who I am, well, I'm Brian. I mentor students, recent grads, young adults, and not so young adults with regards to their career planning, education, career strategy, career growth, but also other things like social development, personal development, relationships. All these things are interconnected, and I help you do exactly that. Make sure that you guys are all on the right path. And if you want to learn more about me, you can go to my bio. I'll have a link in the description down below. And in that bio, there's actually a link to my LinkedIn profile. You can see my work experience. You can see the value that I bring to you guys, the industry perspective that I bring to all my viewers here on my YouTube channel. This is my special bread and butter. This is my secret sauce. You'll get a chance to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, let's get to the question. And this came to me by someone by the name of Desiree. She left a comment on one of my videos and she says, "Hi Brian, as far as experience, would you say volunteering and or interning in the desired field weigh equally as paid work or less? What would you advise? Thanks for all your videos. I'm learning a lot." Great question, and thanks for your comment. I really appreciate it. I love hearing from you, Desiree, as well as everyone else. Now let's break this down a little bit. When it comes to volunteering versus work experience, I think it's pretty obvious to say that they're definitely not the same. When it comes to volunteering, it's going to be weighed less because, well, you know, you're not in it for the long haul, right? It's a very different relationship. It's a very different dynamic when you're trapped in a situation, when you guys are facing a real situation, a real problem together, and knowing that the people around you aren't going to leave. Whereas in a volunteering or internship role, it's temporary. There is an end date. That person is going to leave. And as a result, it's not the same amount of trust and connection. Yeah, you can build a great connection working with each other, but there's something very, very different in that dynamic. On top of it, in an internship position or a volunteering position, you're not going to be paid, or you won't be paid the same way as a full-time employee. So again, that also changes the dynamic of the whole situation. The level of information they can share with you, the level of information or detail that they want to divulge to you is very, very different. The information a volunteer gets or someone who is interning is much more surface level. It's not as deep. You won't know the intricacies of the business. You won't understand the real challenges. They may not share that with you. You may not be exposed to a lot of the confidential aspects of the business. And as a result, the dynamic and the pressure and the importance of the project that you may be on aren't going to be the same as someone who's actually working full time. Now, I know for a lot of you guys, getting work experience is not easy. And as a result, you can't get a job because you don't have the work experience. I understand that chicken versus egg scenario that you're in. And so this is why I do recommend internships or volunteering or co-op is so important. It is absolutely key to give you that stepping stone and give you that exposure to that environment that you want to go into. And I strongly recommend that regardless of what I just said with regards to that dynamic and how it's not equally weighed between work experience and volunteering, doesn't matter. You still want to go after it. You still really want to pad your resume with as much volunteering and internship experience as you possibly can. Until you get that job that gives you the experience that you really want. But in the meantime, go after this, pad your resume, and it's also going to help you with regards to your interview skills. You're going to have more experiences, scenarios, examples in order to answer your interview questions even better than someone who has absolutely no experience outside of school. Now, Desiree, specifically to your question, you asked about whether the volunteering is weighed equally as paid work, especially when you're in the desired field. Now that's very, very cool. I think if you are in an internship role or a volunteering role where you are pretty much on par with someone that is working full time, yeah, that's great experience. And I think this is really going to show in your interview skills, and you definitely want to brag about it in your cover letter and talk about it in your resume, of course, but you really want to highlight those key points because you want to emphasize how equivalent they are. I think on the surface, anyone reading a resume is going to think that it's going to be lesser, that your volunteering experience is going to be lesser than your work experience, which is why it's going to be so important for you to stress immediately on your cover letter and again in your interview to really hone in on the message, to hammer it into the hiring manager or to the HR recruiter to say, yes, it was an internship position, but I was on par. You really want to not tell them that, but you really want to show them that, right? Through your stories, through your examples, and really make it clear so that these guys understand, okay, this person did work, didn't get paid, but they were actually throwing this person into the deep end of the pool, and this person did an amazing job. You really want to make sure it's clear and it's easy for them to make that connection. So I guess my last tidbit for you guys is really, if you are in a situation that your volunteering experience is really, really damn close to work experience, then you better sell that. You got to sell it as hard as you can and make sure it's so obvious to the other person on the receiving end of your message that they know that that is the case. It's going to take some showmanship, it's going to take some practice, but I think you know how important this piece of advice really is. But just know that at the end of the day, someone who's working full-time is going to be weighed a little bit more than someone who's working volunteer position or working in an internship role. That's just the reality of it, but that's okay. You're going to still go past that. You're going to educate the interviewer about your situation. And I think doing that is going to definitely help you in the longer term and also help you get the job that you're actually going for. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. I think this is a pretty straightforward question with a straightforward answer. I think you know what my position is. If you want to know more about how to sell yourself, if you really want to know how to talk your way through the interview, how to show yourself off in the cover letter, well, you can definitely work with me personally in a one-on-one session of a career prep course. You can definitely check it out. We go through your resume, we go through your cover letter, and we do a mock interview. And I'm going to pressure test your current skills, give you real-time critique and feedback. It might be a little bit more uncomfortable for you guys, but it's worth every minute of your time, every penny that you spent, and it's going to give you way more in terms of payback, in terms of return on investment. I mean, it's going to land you the job that's way more than the cost of the course itself. Guys, if you have any questions that you want me to answer in a future video, you know where to find me. Go to oneonOnementoring.com. You can get free advice, submit your questions to me that way. And of course, if you want to work with me personally, just check out my products and services. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.